السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين وتابعيهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, today it is Wednesday, the 27th of Sha'ban 1446, matching the 26th of February 2025. This is our session number 5, going through this book, الصلاة مفتاح النجاة, the prayer, the key to salvation. And yesterday we finished the section on شروط الصلاة, the 9 conditions for the prayer. And today he starts talking about فروض الوضوء ستة. The obligations of wudu are 6. The obligations of wudu are 6. Alif for A, غسل الوجه, washing the face. ومنه المضمضة والاستنشاق. And part of washing the face is rinsing the mouth and rinsing the nose. Putting the water in the mouth and moving it, that's what is called al-madmada. And al-istinshaq is to sniff water inside of the nose, inside of the nostrils, and then to push them out or blow that water out. B وغسل اليدين إلى المرفقين, and washing the 2 hands up to the 2 elbows. Jim or C ومسح جميع الرأس ومنه الأذنان, wiping all of the head, and from the head are the 2 ears. Yani wiping the head and the 2 ears. All of the head, and part of the head is the 2 ears, or are the 2 ears. Dal or D غسل الرجلين إلى الكعبين, وغسل الرجلين, washing the 2 feet, إلى up to الكعبين, the 2 ankles. ها E والترتيب, and the order, following the order, yani the order of washing these body parts in the order that was mentioned. والموالاة, muwalah is to follow, washing the part, to follow it with washing the other part. Al-muwalah. Other scholars or other madhabs, they call that al-fawr, immediacy. Yani, for instance, you don't just, for instance, wash your face, then you receive a phone call, you go speak for 20 minutes or half an hour, and then you come back and you continue. In this case, you have to restart from the beginning. And as I mentioned, this is generally according to the Hanbali madhab, what he's mentioning here, and the choices generally within the book, the Hanbali madhab, and the choices of the well-known scholars now in Arabia, like Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen, Sheikh ibn Baz. You will hear those coming up a number of times. So just in general, this is the case. Otherwise, for instance, washing the mouth and the nose, according to others, is not from the obligations. It's just recommended. Wiping all over the head, all the head, right? Some of them, they say no, only part, right? Then the order also, they differ about the order. Some say the order is not an obligation, it's just recommended. Likewise, al-muwalah is immediacy and doing things right after each other. They say about al-muwalah, so you wash the parts after each other, and they say the time period, as long as the last part did not dry out, right? While you in between, if the last part got dry, right, then you start all over, because that's considered a long a long pause or a long period of time. They say you need to wash the body parts one after the other. If you just, maybe answer the call shortly and then you hang up and still the last part is still wet, they still consider you, in time, in due time, right? So those are the obligations of the wudu that the Sheikh mentioned here. And I mentioned that there may be some difference of opinion in some of them. But basically, washing the face, washing the two hands till the elbows, wiping over the head, and washing the feet. It's all agree on this, and they agree that maybe other things are recommended. They agree on, but then some details, there are differences. And as I mentioned, it's not the intention to go through the details of this. We have done this when we went through the explanation of the shurut الصلاة by the Sheikh Abdul Muhsin Al-Abbad حفظه الله تعالى. He mentions the ayah قال الله تعالى, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يا أيها الذين آمنوا, O you who believe, إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة, when you get up to the prayer, you get up with the intention of praying, فاغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم إلى المرافق, then wash your faces and your hands up to the elbows, وامسحوا برؤوسكم, and wipe over your heads, وأرجلكم إلى الكعبين, and wash your feet till the ankles, right? أرجلكم here with a fatha on the lam, that's why it goes back to the washing, although you don't see فاغسلوا again, but this is what it means. So wash your faces and hands up to the elbows, and wipe over your heads, and wash your feet to the ankles. Surah Al-Ma'idah, ayah number 6. The next section is nawaqid al-wudu, things that will nullify the wudu. This ablution that you made, it may be rendered invalid. It may become invalid. So nullifiers of wudu. He says there are eight things that nullify the wudu. And once again, some of them there are discussions, but this is what the Sheikh lists here. And once again, I remind, mostly he's taking from the Hanbali madhab and the choices of the well-known scholars there in Arabia. Alif, the first one is al-khariju min as-sabilayn, whatever comes out from the two channels. The two channels here, they refer to the front and the back private parts of the human being. Right? What comes out from the male or the female part, and whatever that comes from the behind, the anus, anything that comes out from there, then it will nullify the wudu. Ba or B, al-khariju al-fahishu al-najisu min al-badan. What comes out that is fahish. Fahish here, it means a lot. So what comes out that is considered to be a lot, al-najisu, that is impure, min al-badan, from the body. So there is something that exits from the private parts, front and back. That one nullifies wudu. Doesn't matter what came out. According to this, doesn't matter what came out. It comes out, it's going to make the wudu null and void. This second one is something that comes out, other than the private parts, comes out from the body, other than the private parts, comes out from the body, that is deemed to be a lot, considered a lot, and it is najis, it is impure from the body. Now in the footnote here, he says, al-fahishu al-kathiru. Fahish means kathir. So we know the word kathir, the opposite of qalil, right? كثير and قليل, a lot and a little. فاحش here means a lot. النجس, that which is impure. He says كالدم على القول بنجاسته, like the blood, based on the position that it is impure. Based on the position that it is impure. Majority of the scholars are of that position, that blood is impure. Majority of them. But then there are some of them who say no, we haven't seen any direct explicit proof that the blood is impure. Likewise, then something else that comes out, like for instance vomit, according to some, right? And within the madhab al-Hanbali, if it is a lot, if it is a little, then it's not does not break the wudu. But if it is a lot, then according to this, it breaks the wudu. He did not mention the vomit because there is a discussion also on the impurity of the vomit. Is it impure? Is it najis or not? And if it is, then what is the proof for that? There is an authentic hadith that Rasulullah vomited alayhi salatu wasalam, then he made wudu. But this does not necessarily mean that because he vomited, he broke the wudu. He just made wudu because he wanted to make wudu. So that's where the discussion is. But anyhow, so according to what he mentioned here, if something comes out that is a lot from the body, which is impure, then it will break the wudu. It will break the wudu. Right? And there is a discussion between the scholars on that, past and present. Right? Past and present. And if the blood comes out, does it break wudu? If something else, another liquid comes from the body, does it break wudu? According to this, if it is a lot, then it will nullify the wudu if it is considered najis also. Jim or C, from the things that will break the wudu, zawalul aqli. Zawalul aqli. For the mind, aql here, intellect, basically aql, but then what he means, the senses here. The mind is gone. For instance, if someone faints, or someone goes to sleep, and there is a discussion between deep sleep and light sleep, and if someone is like sitting in a way that he is safe, that he cannot pass wind because he's sitting, or he's standing, for instance, right? He would feel it if it happened. There's a discussion there. But the point is, if the mind is gone, you don't have senses, whether it is deep sleep or someone faints or they put you to sleep. Like you have wudu and you go through an operation, so they put you to sleep, right? They give you anesthetics, right? So if you are completely outside of and you don't feel anything, your mind is not there, then that breaks the wudu. Dal or D, مس المرأة بشهوة, touching the woman with a desire. Touching the woman with a desire. And this one here now, also there are discussions here. Discussions, right? But we'll just take it at that. There is that discussion there. There are those who say that touching the woman, even with a desire, does not break the wudu unless something came out. It caused some liquid to come out, right? Like when you are sexually aroused and a liquid comes out. But if there is no liquid that came out, then they say there isn't anything that makes it clear that the wudu is null, right? But then according to this, the touching of the woman with a desire, it will break the wudu. And then now there are details. Touching the woman with what? they're talking about the hand, right? They're talking about the hand and then the palm of the hand, right? Not like by touching with the elbow, for instance. There is a discussion there, right? Or touching with the foot, right? Basically, they talk about touching with the hand. Ha or E. مس الفرج باليد قبلا كان أو دبرا. Touching the private part with the hand. Touching the private part with the hand. Whether it is the front or the back. So the private part, whether male or female, the front or the back. The back, they're talking about the anus in specific, right? حلقة الدبر, that's what they are talking about, right? The anus in specific. So according to this, if someone touches with his hand the private part, and they're talking about the female and the male, and the male, they're talking here, at least for the Hanbalis, they're talking about the male private part, not the testicles, right? That's what they're talking about. But in general, touching the private parts, front or back, it breaks the wudu. E or F. أكل لحم الجزور, between brackets الجمل, eating camel's meat. Eating camel's meat, right? And we have a famous hadith on this, that the one who ate camel's meat, then let him make wudu. And we have the Hanbali madhab here is the one that says, and Ahlul Hadith, also people of Hadith from every madhab, or almost, Allah knows best, yani, they would go for this. They would go for this. That if you ate camel's meat, then wudu is nullified, and you need to redo your wudu because of that hadith. And you will find from the other madhabs, like Al-Imam Al-Nawawi alayhi rahmatullah, he chooses, although his madhab within the Shafi'i madhab, it does not break the wudu, but he chooses that it does break the wudu because of that hadith in the issue, regarding that issue. Zai or G. تغسيل الميت. الأسئلة في النهاية. تغسيل الميت, washing the deceased. Washing the deceased. So if someone washed a deceased person, a dead person, that breaks his wudu. He has to redo his wudu if he wants to pray or the like. And there is a hadith that says the one who washes the dead person, then he should make wudu, because he has basically they understand it as he has broken his wudu. Others, they will say no, it's just recommended, it's not a must. But then he lists it under that. And the one who is washing here, what is meant by it is the one who is actually washing, turning the body and washing, not the one who is pouring the water and like that. The one who is actually washing, he broke his wudu and he has to redo it according to this position. Ha or H, يعني الردة عن الإسلام, apostatizing from Islam, leaving Islam, والعياذ بالله. أعاذنا الله منها, may Allah give us refuge from that. So if someone, والعياذ بالله, he did or said something or believed in something that makes him outside of Islam, then if he had wudu, when he comes back to Islam, he has to, his wudu is gone, is done, and he is nullified. He has to redo it again. You wanted to say something?
Is it with lust or without lust?
There's a discussion in that too. There is a discussion, details about that. So it's not the intention to go through these details, right? Allah knows best, يعني, in this issue. If something came out because he touched his private part, then definitely it nullifies the wudu. If not, then there is that give and take, and Allah knows best. It is recommended to make wudu, but then there are those scholars who say that if you touch, then the wudu is null. And there are details. There are details to this. The next section is mujibat al-ghusl. Yes.
What about touching with towel? Like when you are in the shower and
No,
you touch
touching
with towel?
directly. They're talking
Touching
here,
directly.
even with the woman or the private part. The touching directly with the hand,
Okay.
not from above ha'il, not from above something that covers. So if someone wearing pants and touched, then that doesn't break the wudu. Someone touched a woman, but then from the top of his wife, يعني, from the top of the clothing, they're not talking about that. They're talking about direct touch, the hand touching the body part directly.
But touching with shower, that's right.
There are details. There are details into that. There are details into that. He mentioned here الشهوة. He mentioned it in the regarding the woman. Regarding the private part, he doesn't mention الشهوة because looks like he's from those who are choosing that shahwa, or without shahwa it breaks the wudu regardless. Right? There's a discussion on that too. Allah knows best. The next section is mujibat al-ghusl. I think we will stop here and we'll continue after salah, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.